What's up, everyone? It's the Interview Queen Alicia Toot here, and be sure to watch True Heel Heat.
Hey guys, it's Thunder Rosa, and welcome to True Heel Heat.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat YouTube and Facebook for our Stardom All-Star Grand Queendom Roundtable review, breaking down the show, one of the biggest women's events of all time from Yokohama Arena from this past Sunday, April 23rd. Of course, if we're talking about Japanese pro wrestling here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, had to bring in the man known for his content here with New Japan Pro Wrestling, past, present, and future. It's your boy, Jay News.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is good brother Jay News, and we're back at it again talking about Stardom All-Star Queendom. Folks, as you know, I am one of those people who likes to watch these shows pillar to post. And yet again, my lone complaint, these 5-hour run times must stop. Outside of that, great show.
But hey man, I'm not complaining. I was satisfied for all. Well, it's really four hours if you skip the pre-show. I watched the pre-show this morning. But yeah, same difference.
They had the proper pay-per-view link had a 6.5 hour runtime on it. I was like, what the hell happened here? I was like, oh man.
Hey, that's that WrestleMania length, man. That's what you come to expect nowadays, brother.
I guess so. I don't even know what that was, brother. I was like, what's going on?
And of course, we got a special guest here with us for our roundtable review. You saw him on the Stardom All-Star Grand Queendom preview. He's one of the most knowledgeable in wrestling media across the board, honestly, with all wrestling, particularly Joshi wrestling. And our preview did over 1,000 views, so he must be a draw as well, as much as Mercedes Mone. He is Scott E. Wrestling, Scott Edwards, joining us once again. How you doing, sir?
You don't want to give me that Mercedes Mone power. You don't want to do that. Then I'm going to start using it to my advantage. But thank you for having me. Obviously, I'm happy to be here. I love talking Stardom, and especially following their biggest show ever. It's really cool for me to kind of get a chance to talk with other people and see how they felt about it, because I think that's my favorite part of this show is so many new fans watched it. And I think a lot of new fans watched it pretty close to it happening, which is kind of unique, because usually as someone who watches every Stardom pay-per-view, I'm usually waiting for people's thoughts because they wait for it to go on Stardom World, or they'll find a link here or there, of course, because they get around. But it's a lot of people bought this show because they wanted to experience the full effect. And I mean, it was absolutely fantastic from start to finish. And I mean, we'll get to like the commentary side and everything, but I don't think they could have done this better than they did.
We could off the bat say, on commentary, I don't know if Jay News heard it, but our boy Scott got shouted out on commentary by Sonny Gutierrez, shouting out the good brother for all his coverage. How did that feel? Did you have like a tear in your eye? You said you were going to retire after the show. Was that like the culmination of your entire wrestling media career, getting shouted out during the biggest Stardom event of all time?
It was really cool because I didn't expect it, obviously, and I put a lot of work into this for a reason. I've said for a long time, like my whole goal is to just spread Joshi, spread Stardom, and I don't know how much I've done that for people. Some people tell me, but when I got that recognition, I was like, all right, so maybe I'm doing something right. And I do thank Sonny obviously for that shout out, and I really give all three of them credit. Just
Yeah.
overall, I thought Chris Charlton was phenomenal
Yeah.
on play by
He was.
play. Like I've heard him on New Japan shows for years now. This was as good as he's ever been, and he doesn't do the play by play, so it's a little different. But
Yeah.
I thought he was excellent. And I thought Sonny Gutierrez filled in really well, giving the Stardom factoids and stuff like that. And Mariah May, who wasn't even supposed to be on it, she did a good job giving the wrestlers perspective. So overall, I mean, they hit it out of the park too, which hopefully means more for English commentary down the line.
I would hope so, because it really added a lot. Like I actually watched the Japanese commentary, and then this morning I watched it with English commentary, and I thought like it added a good bit to it, especially for the people that this is probably their first time watching. They needed that, and
Yeah.
Chris Charlton, who it's primarily the color commentator for New Japan Pro Wrestling, he did a great job doing the play-by-play. Sonny just had all the information that you can need, whether it was the name of different moves, the history between the opponents, and then Mariah May, especially during the Wonder of Stardom Championship matchup, she had that really like that enthusiasm that you have to expect, and then sometimes she was just very calm. It was just a soothing voice to hear on commentary as well. So, and especially the fact that Momo Kogo was supposed to do the English commentary. Unfortunately, we'll talk about she suffered an injury during the Yokohama Rumble, and then Mariah just stepped in and filled in very well.
Yeah, she absolutely did. And like I said, like Chris Charlton really shined in the biggest of matches too, which I mean isn't too shocking. I think that's what he's done his whole run. I think he's done that in New Japan shows, but I mean he helped make the matches like Julian Tam Nakano feel that much bigger, I think, to fans maybe just watching for the first time, right? Because a lot of people were there because of Mercedes Mone. We're not gonna sit here and lie. It was revealed today. They have 5 times the international sales and stuff like that. But if you have someone like a Chris Charlton, giving that much passion, it'll just help fans who are listening get more into it, I think. And I'm not someone who's like really, I'm usually listening to Japanese commentary, truthfully. So I don't really know, like, I think they do a great job, even if I don't understand what they're saying. It's like to get me into the match because they get so excited. But there's something about great commentary that does stand out to me. And I thought this was one of those cases to just enhance the show.
Yeah, I know you're someone, Jay News, who usually watches even New Japan with the Japanese commentary. Were you able to hear the English commentary, and what did you think?
So here's the truth, since we're all here spilling beans and stuff. So the first half of the show I watched with Japanese commentary because someone was nice enough to grant me a viewing with the Japanese commentary. I couldn't do it after I think it was Himeka's retirement match, right? So they got on the mic, and I said to myself, all right, if I don't know what's being said here, I'm not going to have any feel for the show. So I went on to WWR Stardom and just bought the pay-per-view regardless or whatever, and watched the second half of the show with English commentary, and it made all the sense in the world. And I still got the feel and the emotion and things of that nature of the matches and what was going on in the show. I thought that the English commentary was very well done. Shout out to Mr. Charlton for doing the damn thing. I wasn't aware of Mariah May. I didn't know who she was for a bit. I was like, who is this? Why does she sound British? I was like, what's going on? And Sonny Gutierrez, I know that he's done work with Stardom before and things of that nature. He was not that he was off-putting necessarily, but it was just like he was very matter of fact, right? During the commentary, which didn't lead me to to feel much while he was talking, but he did do exactly what Scott said. He filled in the blanks a lot with the information about the Stardom wrestlers and how the feuds were building and everything in between. So I think overall, from an English commentary perspective, it went very well. It's just that some of the matches, which we'll get into, it was a good show overall. But I got some stuff to say.
All right. Well, we're going to get into it. Of course, if you're watching, we appreciate y'all for joining us live. If you're watching us on demand, we also appreciate you as well. Show that appreciation back. Drop the thumbs up on this video. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, if you're watching us on Facebook, drop a thumbs up, a heart emoji, a hug heart emoji, however you felt about Stardom, All-Star Grand Queendom, let us know. And of course, sound off in the live chat. We'll try to highlight as many comments as possible. But of course, your super chat donations is the best way to have your comment highlighted on screen, and it helps the channel out. We got Vala B here with us, one of the biggest Japanese wrestling fans that we know in our community here. He's got a super chat donation starting us off. Thank you very much. He says, top to bottom, one of the best shows of the year. Made me laugh, made me cry, made me feel very concerned during the main event. You're not the only one there. And pure happiness all over. I definitely agree with that. Great super chat donation there, Valo B. And he also added, I got a lot to say. Y'all gonna be squeezing some money out of me. So, hey, continue it on, start the trend. He also asks, how's retirement treating you, Scott?
Oh, it's great. It's great. I have 2 live shows today, so I'm really good at this whole retirement thing. I'm exhausted by the end of the day. So, but it's great. I appreciate it. Need to take a nap.
We got Dolores saying, what's up, everyone? Colin saying, hi, folks. We got Renji, who says Ryuji, who says bonjour, everyone. So from France, okay, welcome. Thanks for joining us. We got Simeon, who says that wonderful Tam Nakano done stole the one World of Stardom title off my queen Julia. Tam is such a Julia glory hunter. We're gonna get into that. I was not pleased with the result there, but we'll get into it. Luke W saying Stardom is hot, which means Triple H is about to raid Stardom like he did with New Japan and British scene. As soon as it gets red hot, here comes Trips. I had a bunch of people tweet out, "Oh, Julia got the call. That's why."
Nah, you know what, man? I don't agree with that. He's tried his hand with the Stardom ladies, man. He really has. Io was a success. Kyrie left. Saray, not so much. So it's been a mixed bag, brother. So I don't think he's gonna be dipping in the waters over there anytime soon.
They pay a lot better now than they used to. I also like to add that in. When Io left and when Kyrie left, they didn't have Bushiroad money.
I was also going to mention that as well. It's a different world for Stardom. And plus, there's a hiring freeze, apparently. Vala B saying Mariah did a fantastic job for someone coming in last minute. We got Ryu J who says, great show, a lot of fun, good work rate, and drama. Shuri versus Hashimoto, what a match. We also got Simeon who says, everyone should definitely be scared because Julia coming off of a defeat is a dangerous Julia, as proven in 2021. Yes, and let's get into the show. We had we'll go through the pre-show very quickly, guys, here, as they had the Yokohama Rumble to kick things off. A bunch of the ladies who weren't in prominent matches. Our pick, Waka, starting off this Yokohama Rumble, which I was like, oh, that's not good news. Unless she's pulling the come in number 1 and go all the way to the end, it wasn't good news. And of course, the machines were the ones that took her out, the strong machines, taking her out of play, ending her journey, even though she got to end the journey of Nakanishi. But in the end, it was Sakurai, who got the win here, eliminating all 3 members of the Strong Machine. So looking good here, coming off of the Cinderella tournament, losing in the finals, but she does win the Yokohama Rumble here. It was sloppy at times, a little bit junky, but that's Battle Royals for you in all of the promotion. So I gave it 2 stars. Any thoughts, Scott?
I said Walker and Mai was winning, so I was
You
right.
did. You did.
It wasn't really like, and it's not shocking they picked her. She's kind of in this new role of where Unagi Sayaka was, kind of building her up, not necessarily as like a serious, soon to be Wonder World of Stardom champion, but someone who will eventually maybe challenge for one of them on a lower pay-per-view, and just kind of filling roles with DDM and what they need. But it was whatever.
What about you, J News?
I think my Sakurai was the only other name that I knew in the battle royal, so I wasn't surprised that she won. I went with Waka because you guys did, but at the end of the day, when I saw her come out, and I was like, "Oh, this is early," and she ain't winning. So it is what it is in that regard. This is more of their comedy stuff, right? They use the Rumbles for comedy purposes and things of that nature. So I think that went off, and it started the crowd off in a good way. So. It did what it was supposed to do.
I knew someone there at the show, and they were in merch line or whatever. They missed the entire match. So it's like some people just missed the matches because of how busy it was there. So, oh well.
Hey, that means the merch line was busy. That's good news for Stardom. Making that money, making that moolah. We always love to hear that. Also, on the pre-show, they had the 8-woman tag of Club Venus and Tekla teaming up to face Oedo Tai. I love the entrance with Club Venus dancing to Tekla's theme song, which seems so out of place. And I love that they just did their whole pose around Tekla, which was great. In the end, it was what we kind of predicted on our preview show, the miscommunication between that side coming back to fruition as Oedo Tai tried to use one of their box weapons, and Mariah May gave the box to Tekla to cheat. Unfortunately, Tekla hit a member of Club Venus, Jesse, and this led to Kashishima getting the win with her signature roll-up to give the victory for Oedo Tai. Oedo Tai, one of the longest stables in Stardom, so appropriate that they got the win here. Even though I will say Momo Watanabe being on the pre-show felt like a damn crime to me, because she should be one of the stalwarts of Stardom and should have been on the main card. But Scott, what did you think about this 8-woman tag? I gave it another one that I just gave 2 stars to.
Fitting pre-show match. Got a little bit of shine for everyone. I thought everyone had their moment. Yeah, I think Tekla and Mariah May work off each other so well. And I do hope that does lead to the return of the SWA championship that hasn't been around for months now, because I think those two should be the ones fighting for it. It went exactly as we expected. And Oedo Tai doesn't, I will say this about them, as long as they are a full faction, they work very well together. But yeah, Momo not being on the card's tough, but there was just no spot for her, unfortunately, this time around.
This is true. J News, what did you think about the 8-woman tag here?
Did one of the ladies get injured legit in this match or no?
No, that was in the Yokohama Rumble with Momo.
Okay.
With Momo. That was kind of scary in the Yokohama Rumble with I think it was Mai who came off the top with her Harlem Hangover move, and then she just wasn't moving. She was all stiff. They had to kind of roll her, push her out the ring. It was just very I was like, I hope she's gonna be okay. It looked very scary, that spot.
Yeah. Just wanted to mention that. But with these ladies here, it was a little bit more of the little bit more comedy to enter the match here with the entrances and stuff like that. This Venus crew, so it's always interesting to me when people, any talent, be it man or woman, leaves the WWE and goes to Japan, right? Especially in Jessie's case, where she was an NXT worker who never really made a name for herself, and then she's now over in Stardom, where training's not as easy as it used to be over at the fucking Performance Center, if you know what I'm saying. But it was cool to see her it was just cool to see her be in a different environment and see if she was enjoying what she was doing. And it seemed like she did. So that was a plus for me during the match. And then secondarily, Oedo Tai, these women, they just scream kind of like they taking your lunch money type thing. You know what I'm saying? They're bullies out here.
They feel like the female version of Suzuki-gun.
There you go.
Like for us New Japan fans, that's the best comparison I could say for Oedo Tai.
There you go. So they all did what they did, and then of course we all agreed with the fact about can they coexist? Would that come down to that? And it definitely came down to that. And then Tekla just being the odd person out in this particular match was exactly what we expected. So I got what I expected. It was a decent match overall. It did what it was supposed to do on the pre-show, and it kicked it all off. So I'm down with that.
Yes, but the main card got kicked off with, I agree with Scott now from our preview. This was the perfect match to start things off because my eyes could not keep up with the action of this matchup that started off the show, as it was Mei Seira and Starlight Kid versus Azumi and Mei Segura. Man. Like, first of all, the entrances were very, very nice. I love Mei Seira coming out with balloons because it was, in fact, her birthday. You had Starlight Kid coming out, who has probably the best entrance music in Stardom. I don't know if Scott wants to debate me, but I think that's my favorite out of all the Stardom theme songs. And then you had Azumi coming out with Mei Segura's wings and get tripped up during her entrance, which
instantly ate it.
It popped me. That popped me so much.
Instantly fell on her ass.
But this match started off so fast-paced. You had back and forth with Seira and Azumi. You had Starlight Kid with Mei, and they were just going back and forth, jumping. You had Azumi with her great dive to the outside, just out of nowhere, just jumping to the top and taking out the two Meis. You had the two Meis working together at one point, which led commentary to say that maybe they should have been tag team partners. You had the nice little exchanges with Segura and Starlight Kid, where they were doing the jumping maze, and I loved Chris Charlton kept saying, "Oh, jumping maze, jumping maze, jumping maze." That was great. Back in the ring, Starlight Kid turned things back around before attempting a second dive, and once it came down to Seira and Azumi, it was just roll up 1-2, roll up 1-2, roll up 1-2, Azumi sushi 1-2, and then finally Seira got the win with basically it was like a sunset flip, but on the ground, which was very unique. And Seira gets the win, as we kind of talked about. Scott kind of talked me and Jay News to predicting that Seira would get the win here, and he was exactly right to set up the next challenger for the High Speed Championship. I absolutely loved this match. It was a blur to keep up with, but when I was able to keep up with it, man, did it deliver. I gave this match 4 stars. What did you think, Scott?
Blink and you'll miss it. That is what this match is. That is what this match is. To me, High Speed is what is the biggest difference between any promotion in Stardom, because you can get, you can have Lucha Libre, you can have junior matches, but High Speed's very different. And the fact that Mei Seira was away from wrestling for a year and 8 months and walked back into the ring on this show and did that. Listen, I understand she's been training and stuff, but there's nothing like the real thing. And this is her first time in front of a big crowd. This is the biggest crowd she's ever been in front of, by the way, mind you. And most of this, a lot of this roster, but for her, absolutely. She was barely in front of thousands, because Marvelous wasn't in front of thousands of people. Yeah. So the fact that she was able to go out there, and her and Azumi, they just click so well. It was great. It was just such a perfect way to start off the show. I would not have had any other match start off the show, because it sets the table for what's to come. And it's why you have High Speed to begin with. If you weren't going to do a title match, you have 4 of the best, whether that, and Mei Saruga, I know we can talk about Mercedes Moné, but Mei Saruga is someone that some people may have noticed and may have known from AEW, which I think was a smart thing to have her on this show. And she's very creative in her own ways that she feels different from everyone else. I think a lot of people walk away from this show taking a lot from the later matches, but I would be shocked if people didn't say, okay, out of these four, I want to see what more they do.
Yeah, this was definitely kind of like a brochure of come see the high speed matches. The high speed matches deliver, and I love that it was kind of like a lucha. Like you can make the comparison to lucha libre. It was kind of like a lucha libre tag with the rules where anyone could get a pinfall. It didn't matter if you were legal or not. I love that as well, and that's why I really enjoyed this opener. I thought it was like a near perfect opener for this card, especially. J News, what did you think?
I wanted to watch this match because Starlight Kid became one of my favorite wrestlers, period, about 2 years ago. And just being able to watch her and her level of athleticism that she brings to any match, bro, let alone just this starting match is ridiculous, man. And all the other girls in this match, they proved out as well. And it, pace, like we've seen stuff like this in like Leo Rush matches, just by comparison or whatever cases, early Will Ospreay stuff with Ricochet and things of that nature. Like this stuff is not for everybody, but the way that it's done on Stardom is second to none. And big props to these girls for starting the show off the way that they did. May, what was not Saruga, but the other May? May Sarah. I want to see more from her. I feel like I didn't get enough of what I needed in this match. So I want to see more from her. Yeah, man, definitely. We'll see as to what happens there. But what a hell of a way to kick off the show on the main card.
Good news for you. May 4th, she's challenging Azumi for the title. So if you're going to get the full May Sarah experience, that'll be it.
And that's the day after wrestling Dontaku, J News. So back to back, you get New Japan, and then you get Stardom the next
Golden
day.
Week. It's Golden Week.
It is Golden Week. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
There you go.
So they should have some big crowds and good turnouts out there for that.
Yeah, both shows are in Fukuoka.
I think so.
Yeah. All right, so see, we got plenty more to talk about from Stardom and New Japan. Bushiroad on a roll right now. Next matchup, the second match on the main card was again tag team action, but this time it was very different. You had the Queen's Quest team of Mayu Amasaki and Utami Hayashita versus Hazuki and Fuuchan. And I love the montage they did with Fuuchan trading. And our boy Kazuka Okada showed up. I popped. Teaching her the drop kick. I was like, yes, I am with Scott. I'm a Fua stand now. I learned from Okada. I was here for it. Great entrance. I love them, kind of the English commentary talking about how the show was being televised on live television in Japan because of Fuuchan being a celebrity, a reality star turned comedian, and how she's one of the biggest names on the show. I love her being the YouTube influencer she is. She had to have the selfie stick, and she had a hell of, for her second match ever, she had a hell of an effort here, showing off her athleticism. They talked about her having like an athletic background, playing basketball, and you could see that she had the hops to go with it, with the drop kick and the missile drop kick off the top rope, but she ran into the beast known as Utami, and Utami took her head off with that lariat at the end and then finished her off with a German suplex. I enjoyed the hell out of this matchup. I actually rated it higher on the second viewing, watching it with English commentary. I gave it 3 3/4 stars. I thought this was a hell of an effort from Fuuchan, and everybody just worked well together. Loved when Hazuki was going at it with Hayashita. After the match, Fuuchan said that she was taking time away to reconsider her future in pro wrestling. And Hazuki basically told her, encouraged her, saying that she would be waiting. And if she does, in fact, choose to return. But this was a very, very good tag team matchup here. What did you think, Jay News?
So we lightly touched on the fact that what Fuwa-chan's role here was, right? And I completely had forgot about it while I was watching the match because she seamlessly wrestled in this thing. It didn't seem like she was brand new at all. It seemed like she's one of the girls. She went in there, she did the damn thing, she stood out. And I was like, wait, this is her second match? There's no freaking way. Like for all intents and purposes, like I understand that she's thinking about her future in professional wrestling. Like, young lady, this is it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you found your calling. Like there's no once you catch the wrestling bug, it must be followed through. Pro wrestling in Japan is your way of life right now, young lady. Fuwa-chan, I want to see more of her in Stardom. But the match was cool, man. Hazuki. Like it was weird because usually when you have celebrities in matches, they don't carry the match. And freaking Fuwa-chan was in there the majority of the time.
I love Hazuki basically telling her, like, no, you stay in.
Exactly, you stay in there. And she only came in for the saves and stuff like that or whatever. And it was cool because they gave Fuwa the freaking spotlight. And I was like, she's not missing a beat here. And I'm like, this is really terrific. From an overall standpoint, right? Because it put more eyes on the show outside of Mone, right? And it was just like this she belongs. She just does. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, I'll bring it up because Scott brought it up last time. It's not like Logan Paul. You know, she's loved. You know, people don't want to see Logan Paul in the WWE ring. You know what I'm saying? No matter how good he can be, I'm not going to discredit that. But like, you know, especially in Japanese culture, the wrestlers who seem to be more upbeat and very fan favorited are always spotlighted in a certain way. And because Fuwa-chan, she lives in that realm, why the hell not, man? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it makes sense. Not necessarily knowing as to what faction she would eventually belong to, but you know,
Probably she seems more stars related, wouldn't you say, Scott?
Yeah, I think what she has going for her, besides obviously being a very popular celebrity in Japan, is she has this great underdog baby face mold that instantly makes her like, oh, I want to see more of her. I want to see her get that big win. And truthfully, at this stage, I think it would be a shame if we didn't get to see her get her first pro wrestling win. Like, that's where I'm at, right? You have this great hype video. Oh, her training with Suzuki, Kazuchika Okada coming out of his way to do it, right? You heard that song. It's anytime you hear his music play that's like you kind of get chills almost, and they play
like,
it's
like a main character from another show showing up on the
I know, exactly. And Chris Charlton, you know, he did really good at like kind of giving the idea of all the work she put in, because she really did give herself this whole year. Yeah, she did all her other stuff at the same time, but she's been working and working for these two matches, and it does seem like she did go all in, right? Like, she wasn't going to just take it easy. And I make the Logan Paul comparison only because while they're very different in terms of love and hate, they're both really good at this pro wrestling thing.
Yes.
And it's I hope that she does come back, because she doesn't have a ceiling, I think, truthfully, which is pretty crazy for a celebrity wrestler. But based off her bumping in here, and you know, that German that she hit on Utami, that was one of my biggest pops of the night when she hit that damn thing. I was like, holy hell. I just hope she comes back, because she's very good at this pro wrestling thing, which is incredible, really.
And I always heard about, Hayashita, that some Stardom fans were not happy about her push because they felt like she came from the reality show background. So that's why it was good to have English commentary tell the story about, her being on the show Big Daddy, and she was one of 13 children and she was the child star. And I was like, you saw kind of the parallels between her and Fuwachan instantly. That's what English commentary does help, because I've been watching these shows with Japanese commentary and they probably have mentioned it before, but I've never really understood it until this show. So that's why I liked it. But let's talk about a match that I think was going to be very high on everybody's match of the night, which was the Himeka retirement matchup, with Himeka going one-on-one with her tag team partner Maika. And boy, oh boy, this matchup right here was all about the feels. You had Himeka with the big entrance coming out like a princess, the jumbo princess, the nice little video before she came out. Maika had now red hair instead of her signature all black hair. You had Mina Shirakawa on the call for the ring announcing, and she was there for Himeka's first matchup that she ever had. So the nice little parallel there. And then when the bell rang, my lord, these women went at it like it was a never open weight championship matchup. I felt like I was seeing the female equivalent of Tomohiro Ishii versus Shingo Takagi. It was just boom, battering each other, the big clubbering blows. You had Maika pulling out like suplex, the delayed superplex off the top rope. Himeka hitting the JP coaster for a near fall. You had Maika reversing Himeka's follow-up attempt into a slam, which bonds him into more like offense on her part. She hits the Michinoku driver for a near fall. Then Himeka comes back with the jumbo knee and a big running power bomb, but Maika kept kicking out. Maika then responded with a big Michinoku driver. She picked her up, hits her with another Michinoku driver. Then she picks her up, and this is why English commentary once again a very helpful here, as you hear her screaming at her, and they tell us that she's screaming, "Please kick out," before she delivers a nasty looking headbutt. And then finally one more Michinoku driver to finish off Himeka. 1, 2, 3. My lord, this was an emotional matchup, but absolutely tremendous the whole entire way. Like I felt like a genuine female hoss fight. And then after the match, Himeka cut a promo thanking the fans for supporting her on this journey, thanking Maika for bringing it to her in this retirement matchup. You could feel the emotion, even if you're just watching Stardom for the first time. You knew how important this was by their facial expressions, their body language. The storytelling was top notch throughout this matchup here. This is another match that I rated higher on second viewing with the English commentary. I gave this 4.5 stars. I absolutely love this matchup here. Scott, what did you think?
I think for some people, this will be their match of the night. I think it depends on your connection to Himeka and your connection to these two, but I think for some people it'll be not mine, their match of the night. It wasn't my match of the night, but it was the perfect ending for Himeka. Though I will say, sometimes for like matches like these, I need to be brought in, right? And listen, I knew the retirement, I knew that would bring me in, and the way they ended it with Micah pretty much saying, "I don't want this to end." I thought that was a great emotional touch to it. That being said, it's the sometimes I like to not know who's winning or be convinced that someone else is going to win. That was never going to happen for this match, so it's not really their fault.
Yeah.
But what they did accomplish is that I walked away from saying, okay, now it's Micah's time. That is what I walked away saying. I was like, now it's Micah's time to rise up and go get her first title win. That's the road we need to go down. And, part of me does hope that if and when that ever happens, Himeka's there in the building, because I think that'll be very important. But Mike is excellent. Himeka, what a career. Good for her. I'm happy that she was able to retire on her own terms. And yeah, I mean, I think it was as emotional as you'd expect between these two. And if you like hoss fights, this is the one for you.
Absolutely. I love two beefy women slapping meat. That's what I love to see. What did you think, J News?
Oh man. So I was still watching the show with Japanese commentary during this point, and I didn't get the feels of it right at first, and then I was just I told myself, let me mute this and just see if the physical portion of this will get me into the match, and it did. Right. And I was like, okay, so these girls are telling a good story. I understand that there's a level of care and love here that's going between one against the other. And the thing that threw me the most, because I've seen Himeka matches before, the whole Jumbo Princess tag, the name, right? The nickname. I was like, why do they call her Jumbo Princess? And during the entire show, a lot of the time you had the birth date of the woman, how tall she was, how much she weighed. So I'm here, have my phone in my hand. I'm doing kilograms to pounds conversions, trying to understand why they call her the Jumbo Princess, right? And I'm here like, man, she weighs 143 pounds. Ain't nothing jumbo about this goddamn girl. She's tall. You know what I'm saying? She's tall. For I guess for women of their ilk and things of that nature. But I was like, all right, I get it, right? It's all for show. It is what it is. It's the gimmick, right? If we're talking in wrestling terms. But all in all, I got what Scott got out of the match. Like, this is Micah's road. Now it's time for her to take the ball and run with it and whatnot. Hell of a match here. Himeka's 25 years old. She's got the rest of her life to do whatever the hell she wants. I'm sure she's been wrestling for more than a decade at this point, because that's what they do with these Japanese girls. They start them off like at 8 years old, and they it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. But I thought that the match was well put together. The emotion was definitely there, even without commentary. I wanted to understand what was being said post match, but obviously at that point I hadn't thought about whatever I had to think about 2 matches later. So I'm gonna go back and get the translation and see as to how everything worked out. And it worked for me, man. It was a hell of a good match. 3.5 stars. I'm with that. I just, now with Micah, it's like, all right, what are they gonna do? What title is she going to go towards, right? Because it's like they have all these different titles for different purposes, and it's like, well, she's a hoss girl, right? So where does she fit in at the end of the day? So we got to see as to how that works out. But definitely a good match in my eyes as well.
Yeah, I am the high man on this one. I really enjoyed this matchup here, and apparently so did Vala B with another super chat donation. Thank you so much, good sir. He says, I really thought Himeka was gonna say, "Psych, I ain't leaving," because it was the 3rd match on the main card, but holding out hope for a return someday. That please kick out, man, tears. And that when he said that, that's what she said. I was like, oh, that's her version of I'm sorry, I love you. I was like, that was great. That was a nice little touch. And I think on English commentary they did say she's called the Jumbo Princess because she's a huge fan of Jumbo Saruta and the All Japan.
That makes complete sense then. At the end of the day, the only thing I'll have to say about this, and I saw it more than once during this show, and I'll call it out because it's true. God damn it, these headbutt spots must stop.
Dude, this wasn't even the worst offense.
No, it wasn't. But after what happened with Shibata all those years ago, it's just not prudent to be doing this anymore. It just ain't. And the worst headbutt spot, brother, let me tell you, that spot right there. We'll get to it. Head crushing there.
But let's go to the next match on the card, the first title match, as it was for the Goddesses of Stardom championship.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
God's Eye, the New Era's Ami Saraya and Mayu Myre versus
Keep
7
trying,
Up
brother. Keep trying. There you go.
versus
Keep trying.
7 Up. Yeah, I was like, I don't even want to try really. I will say you impressed me here. You came off like a genuine giant in this one. She was very powerful throughout. I love the exchanges between Nane and Myra Murray. Those were good, but the finish not so much. The finish was just like, I think that a lot of people were caught off guard by this the finish to this matchup, because it was basically they were fighting on the floor, and the baby faces, New Eras, were trying to keep 7 Up out of the ring. They kept drop kicking them whenever they got on the apron, and the referee just continued counting. And then eventually he counted all the way to 20, and the New Eras won. The New Eras became the Goddesses of Stardom champions by countout. I was not feeling that finish. I thought the work in the match was done right. I thought that like I said, Mirai and Takahashi going at it, they had nice exchanges, very hard hitting. Mirai with her more of like the Ishii Goto style, that worked with Takahashi, who's more of like the hostile as well. But yeah, that finish took the wind out of this one. I gave it 3 stars because, like I said, it was good work, but the finish was a letdown. Scott, what did you think? I know Mirai is one of your favorites. What do you think about her getting her first championship in this matter?
Don't you love that's not going to work for me, brother scenario? Don't you love that? Anytime it happens, politicking in professional wrestling will forever annoy me. You hold a lot of titles in a lot of places. Chris Charlton talk about it. She is one half of the Sendai Girls tag team champions. I think she's the Eve. She has one of the Eve belts. She's a champion. I think maybe 2 more places. The point is she's a champion in a lot of places. And Nanae Takahashi has her own history of politicking and stuff like that. And I don't think this was Nanae. I think it was more you than anything else. That being said, sucked. Absolutely sucked. Mirai's first title win should be with a true win. A true win, her getting the pin. So this kind of felt, it knocked the wind out of me a little bit. Now, I said, because people were freaking about this on Twitter, I was like, oh my god, it was terrible. It's like the next 4 matches are the next 4 matches. Like, who cares? I was like, I've already moved on. Mariah has a belt. I'm happy. We move on. I said on the preview when we did this will either be the match that really surprises people or the worst match of the show, which is kind of what I expected. Well, there you go.
You got the ladder. You definitely got the ladder here.
And like you said, Mirai and Nanae, I thought were really good together. But it just couldn't save what was a letdown of a show in the end. So, 7 Up winning the titles, I thought was great, and I thought their reign was great. But when you end it like this and you don't really put someone over, it's not worth it in the end.
Very true. Very true. And Takahashi, I would think that it would just you have Mirai pin Takahashi. Takahashi just lost to Waka, who didn't win for 2 years.
Listen,
what are we doing?
I do think that there's something to the tag league match where they kind of went at it after the match that they had. I mean, this is of course me speculating, but maybe there is a disconnect there between these 2 teams, and there may be a dislike, but hey, they had to put them over and get the titles on them, so we'll see. But I will say this was the start of the title changes, right, for the night, and I think it's the start of kind of us seeing outsiders kind of take a step away from the Stardom spotlight moving forward. I think we're about to go really back into what the Stardom roster is, which is obviously very stacked, so that'll be interesting to see. But this was the start of that direction, no matter how I feel about the result.
J News, any thoughts?
Yeah, this reminds me exactly of what Scott said before. Politics and professional wrestling sucks at the end of the day. I know no backstage information about Stardom at all. Well, anytime you see a count out victory and belts exchange hands, something happened there, brother. And I for one, I am not a fan. Not a fan of this at all. I know it's Japanese rules that you can win belts via count out and things of that nature, whatever the case is. But like, just understanding the dynamic of the match, like you had Takahashi here. She's the elder stateswoman out of all the ladies there. And on top of everything else, you seem to have a very decorated background, from what I understood. And I said to myself, well, they don't necessarily seem like they're vibing real well here, the two of them as a cohesive team. And then the other two on the other side, they seem to be working well together. But at the end of the day, a lot of what I saw offensively from them seemed kind of sloppy for me. So I said to myself, okay, maybe they just need some more time together in order for things to be a little bit more cohesive. But on top of everything else, I was like, yeah, they're not going to win this match. And then when they ended up winning, I was like, oh, no. This is pro wrestling at its worst. You can't win championships via count out. Hypothetically speaking, but at the end of the day, this didn't do it. This didn't do it.
I totally understand that. We do have a super chat donation from Horayu. Thank you so much for the super chat donation. We appreciate the love, especially coming here and showing love to Himeka, saying thank you for everything, Himeka. Great match, like I said. That was my match of the night up until this point here. Especially, I just needed to remember that after the finish to the tag team match. I was like, at least we got that, and we got plenty more great matches to go for. Simeon saying, thankfully, no serious shoot fighting took place in this matchup. That is good. That is good. At least they kept it professional in the matchup itself. But let's go to the next championship matchup for the Artists of Stardom Championship. You had Prominence defending the titles against Restart, and they opened this one at like a blistering pace. Great entrances by Restart here, with everyone kind of themed with Kyrie and the pirate theme. Prominence just came out like complete badasses, and they just immediately just went after the baby faces, attacking them. You had Suzuki throwing Kyrie into the front row of chairs. Kuromu landed a slam, resetting the match in Prominence's favor. Prominence advance continued when Kuromu landed a triple power bomb at one point. You had them do like the kind of the stack, the Tower of Doom spot with Natsupoi bringing everyone down and Kyrie getting the brunt of that. You get an air crate crash, which led to a double tag, leaving it with Sori and Suzuki in the ring, and they just beat the crap out of each other. You get the German suplexes. You had Risa coming in and hitting Sori with kendo stick to break up a German suplex pinfall. Restart rushed the ring to stop Suzuki's attack. Nai landed a German suplex, and then Suzuki landed one of her own where Sori landed right on her freaking head. And then after trading those German suplex and a couple of near falls, it was Sori who got a backslide with a bridge where her feet touching the other Suzuki's feet, keeping her down. I thought this was such a unique pinfall, which got Restart the win. They are the new Artists of Stardom champions. I enjoyed the hell out of this matchup. I really, really love trios wrestling, and Japan does it a lot differently, where you get a lot of the one-on-one matchups. And when it came down to Sori and Suzuki, it was a hell of a match. And like I said, that one spot where Sori landed right on her head. It reminded me of Ricky Starks taking that German suplex against Hangman Adam Page, because she just got right back up like Ricky Starks did. So I hope she's okay, because that was dangerous. But Restart getting the win. This is what you predicted, Scott. I gave this match 4.25 stars. I thought it was a great trios bout. What did you think?
I learned very quickly that I liked this match more than the majority of people. And maybe it's because I love the chaos of it and the insanity that Prominence often brings. And I love the work of Kyrie and how she kind of fights back and her cleverness. And I think this is where Chris Charlton really started to shine a little bit more and more. He was talking about, kind of referencing how Tanahashi and Okada, right? They're singles wrestlers. And now they're trying to learn as a tag team. And
Yeah,
he was talking about how that's kind of what Kyrie is. Kyrie is a singles wrestler who's now trying to get back into the trios mold, back in the tag team mold. She's a multiple-time Art of Stardom champion, but she's been really a singles wrestler since the moment she came back. And trying to make that work and not be that lone wolf, right? There was one time I think in this match where instead of tagging, she kept going, and I thought that was a cool little reference to keep going with. And ultimately, I thought the finish and the closing of this match was absolutely phenomenal and one of the best of the night between Saori Anou and Suzuki. I thought they were absolutely fantastic in closing this match down and really sending home the crowd happy. This was one of my favorite matches of the night, probably top 3, truthfully, which on a night of what this card was, I think that is a credit to all 6 of them. And I just love trios action. I think that Stardom does it super well. They follow more of the Dragon Gate style of trios action more than anything else, which is, kind of nonstop, keep going, tag in, tag out, back and forth. And I think that's why I love it so much. But this match was excellent. And I think everyone should go out of their way to see if they haven't. And I will say, before I send it over to J News, today at the Prominence show, Suzuki announced that she will be leaving Prominence. She did not quit deathmatch wrestling. She said she will continue doing death matches, which I don't know how, but she did officially leave Prominence, which is a big deal. And I say this. I say this because I firmly believe it. You don't leave Prominence if you're doing anything but signing with a company. That is how I feel. I said the moment that I said long ago, and I've said it time and time again, she has a contract waiting for her. It's the moment she wants to sign it that she will. Stardom is her next home if she wants it. She wants to be at the top of the pro wrestling world. She said this is the place to do it. She not only will instantly be a main event star, as we've seen in her time here, she will, I pitched the DDM idea when Himeka announced her retirement, and her and Julia kind of reconciling a little bit. Feels like it's almost too good to be true now.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a world of sense, and she's already main evented, one of their shows this year at Supreme Fight against Julia. So, yeah. I mean, that's a huge get for Stardom, because she's only 20 years old, and I would say she was the best in this matchup. That tequila shot that she hit was just beautiful. She just is very high impact, and I also agree with you, Scott. I really enjoyed the story of how Prominence was just this cohesive unit, and Kyrie was kind of trying to do a lot of things on her own throughout this matchup. What did you think, J News?
No, that's what I got out of the match. Really, while I was watching it, I was like, "Why is Kyrie flying solo here?" At the end of the day, I was like, "She's trying to take all the goddamn glory." Suzuki, listen, man, I need more of her. She is strong style personified. If I've ever seen it, and I know she does death match wrestling and all that stuff or whatever, but the way she hits, the way she moves, and to know and understand that she's 20 years old. I was like, whoa, what? I was like, Japan has a different outlook on when people should be starting professional wrestling training and how long they've been in the business. But geez, man, definitely need more of her. it was a very scattered match for the most part for me, just because I didn't have any background on the story and things of that nature. But it was cool, and it was good to see the cohesiveness of Prominence, even though she's now left that particular promotion and team. To see as to where Suzuki's going to be going is hopefully she stays in Stardom, and how that works out. Kyrie, man, I'll mention this here and I'll mention it again towards when we talk about the main event. Even though she's a Stardom legend, icon, whatever you want to call it, she from the feel of it, she feels like the odd man out for some reason. She's like on an island by herself and whatnot. Anytime she's around the girls, it's like she's separate and whatnot. And it's like, but why? I'm not necessarily trying to instigate any beef or anything like that, but it just felt that way. Especially during the celebration of after the main event. I was like, why does she feel so odd here? And I was like, well, okay. I guess
I knew with that's because she's not technically a member of Cosmic Angels, if I'm correct. Right. Scott. Like that's why I was like, that's why when Tam at the end of the main event invited her in, she was like, me? Like she did like she did the double take. Like me? What? Okay, I guess.
I mean, you just want some titles with her compatriots, so it just made sense at that particular point in time for her to invite you in, But those are the main takeaways I got from this match. I really watched the show just to see as to if I could pick out any favorites for myself as I continue my walk down the Stardom journey. And yeah, man, Suzuki, looking out for her in the future.
She's been one of my favorites since the 5-star Grand Prix match, Scott, with Julia. That was some of the best acting I've seen in a match. Like her crying and them hugging at the end of the time of a draw. One of the best moments in wrestling last year. Let's get into another match that a lot of people might call the match of the night, the Wonder of Stardom Championship bout, as Saya Kamitani defend her championship against Mina Shirakawa. Mina coming out with her Club Venus crew. I loved it. I love Waka still doesn't get the memo that she's supposed to pick up the V like everybody else, but she's still learning. But this felt like it was one of the first matches on this card that really had a big fight feel and a lot of history going into this one. It opened up with a scramble, and then Mina really kind of showed the story of this matchup by attacking the leg of Asaya. And I love the commentary and Chris Charlton and Sunny kind of talking about how Saya's all offense revolves around her long legs, with the leg lariats, with her agility, doing her high-flying style, and that Mina was smart to go after that. Saya eventually landed a drop kick to put Mina on the back foot. She followed up with a big dive to the outside onto Mina. Mina showed a lot of fire throughout this one and just kept attacking the knee, kept going after the knee every time she could. Saya would answer back with leg lariat, suplex, and then a big boot. She climbed to the top rope and looked for the Phoenix Splash, but then her mind and her doubt got to her and made her come down. She then tried to convince herself to go back up again, the same move that basically broke the face of Mina, and Mina caught her and did the most unique dragon screw I've ever seen. But it was a one-winged angel dragon screw. Oh my God. I was like, that was awesome. Mina landed a suplex, then a rolling forearm. She hit a pair of very explosive DDTs, including an implant DDT for a 2 count. Saya came back and hit a suplex of her own, and then the Star Crusher for a near fall. She finally hits the Phoenix Splash on Mina, and Mina kicks out. Mina went after the leg again and eventually locks on the figure 4. It looks like Saya is going to give up, but she basically climbs the referee and inches her way to the ropes to break it, escaping through the ropes again. And then Mina followed up with a glamorous driver, which got a near fall. She then picked her up and basically did a figure 4 glamorous driver for the 1-2-3. I thought this was a superb matchup. One of my favorites of the whole year from Stardom. Just the storytelling with the work on the knee, the psychology was so sound, and then the storytelling with their previous matchup with Saya's doubt over, breaking the face of Mina last time, and then in the end showing respect to Mina, putting the Wonder of Stardom Championship, her 16-month reign since December of 2021, finally ended by a woman that kind of rebuilt herself in the last time she got a shot. And I loved the commentary. This was when I thought the commentary kind of went to the next level and told the story perfectly here. I gave this match 4 3/4 stars. This was a near perfect match, in my opinion. I absolutely loved it. J News, what did you think?
This is the match during the event that completely got me sold on the event. They did the job that I believe usually the main event does in this match. And to say that I went into this match knowing absolutely nothing about these two young ladies, they killed it. Completely, to me, they tore the house down. They told the story. You didn't even need the commentary. The narrative in the ring was exceptional to me in this match. And Mina with that flying dragon screw, I popped so loud for that. I was like, what the hell was that? That's crazy. And in my head, I was just listening to Japanese commentary, like New Japan style, Dragon's gone. It was just amazing to me. You know what I'm saying? So it was one of those moments. And to see Saya Kamitani actually hit the Phoenix Splash after all the doubts, after the work over on the leg, it was just something of beauty. But yet she couldn't keep that title. She couldn't keep it. She eventually lost. And this, to me, if it wasn't for that special singles match, this would have been the match of the night for me. But this definitely this raised the stakes for the show, in my estimation. Your thoughts, Scott, on what went down here?
It's funny with this match. I don't know what I was doing at the time. I was doing something, so I missed the first half, and I was like, and I thought the second half was great. So I was like, okay, I need to go back and watch it because the second half had all this drama. Right when she locks in that figure four, I actually was like, is she going to tap out? Is she going to tap out? And I think that's the type of drama you want to create, because you're right, when she hits the Phoenix Splash and Mina kicks out, there's still that doubt in your mind that, okay, well, she kicked out, but Mina didn't come right back and put her away. There was still time to tell and story to tell in this match. But as we went along and me going back and watching it, I got such a greater appreciation because, listen, I'm not like a stickler for selling leg parts and stuff like that. It's not like do or die for me. Some people truly, if someone doesn't sell the leg, they're done. Like the match is over for them. I'm not a stickler for that, but they did such a great job in the way that they did this, right?
Yeah.
And right when Saya is thinking about it up on the Phoenix Splash, you're not only thinking of the doubts of injuring someone, she's also thinking of the doubts of, does her leg have enough to do it correctly this time around? And it's this little stuff like that that brings the match from here to here for me. It is the greatest match in the career of Mina Shirakawa, and she has shown up in the biggest spots to deliver. I am someone who has been very vocal about Mina Shirakawa over the past couple of years because it's been an up and down road for her. But and some people thought, because of this heelish Club Venus, that maybe she wouldn't be as cheered. She might have had the loudest pop of the night when she won.
When she won, I got up out of my seat because everybody was hyped, and then she had me dead ass doing the Club Venus dance to a theme song. Her theme song is fire too, I was so hyped. This up to this point, this was my favorite match on this card.
Yeah, so now that I think of it, I said last time that maybe that was top 3. I think this match would be 2. The next one would be 3. And then the final 5 matches are my top 5. There's my spoiler alert.
I don't blame you. I don't blame
Yeah.
you because all of these delivered in like different ways. And
Mhm.
I called this because right before the next matchup, I was like, okay, this was like a psychology, storytelling, like superb masterclass. And then
Right.
we were about to get a fight. So I do want to highlight some
We got a fight.
comments here. Simeon saying the storytelling in this match was perfection, made Mina believable and worthy as the new Wonder of Stardom champion. And Colin adding, this was my match of the night. It was fantastic. I definitely agree. And then also Simeon talking about the storytelling with Mina swept the leg that broke her mouth. So that was a nice little, they told that story just great. And like you said, Jay News, you didn't even need English commentary. If you just watched it, you were encapsulated by everything that was going on. But like I said, that was more of your storytelling type of matchup for the old school wrestling fan. If you came to see a fight, oh my God, you were about to get it, as it was Shuri going one-on-one with Chihiro Hashimoto, Big Hash, and oh my God. From the opening segment, like they started off this one kind of very slow. Shuri, another one that has one of the best theme songs in this company. Her theme song is a bopper. Hashimoto immediately hits like a big suplex and slam. Then they start like trading these like vicious strikes with one another. Shuri landing a leaping knee that put Hashimoto on the mat. Then Hashimoto climbed to her feet and landed a multiple lariats on the outside. You get Shuri with a nice little tornado DDT off the apron. Shuri catches Hashimoto with like a knee strike and a swift leg lariat. Then Hashimoto hits that belly to back German suplex, which I thought took Shuri's head off. Shuri eventually would pick up the win after taking some brutal offense. Hashimoto hits like a big power bomb on her at one point that I thought that was going to be the knockout. You get the nice strike exchange, which left both women out after they did both hit each other with like the palm strike. And then finally, Shuri lands a vicious headbutt, another one on this show. She hits a buzzsaw kick, but then Hashimoto basically climbs to her feet. Shuri hits her version of the one wing angel and then follows up with the buzzsaw kick. And finally, Hashimoto cannot answer the 10 count. She's knocked out here, and Shuri gets the win. This one was sometimes brutal to watch because it was just they were beating the holy hell out of each other. But I love the story of it was basically Shuri's kicks and strikes versus Hashimoto's kind of overpowering strength and her just powerhouse high impact maneuvers. And this was another one which I thought was absolutely amazing. Back to back, I'm giving 4 3/4 stars because this is just, it was 2 back-to-back matches that were near perfection, but in totally different ways. And that's what I loved about this card. Scott, what did you think about Shuri versus Hashimoto?
Shuri has established herself as the end-all be-all, not only in Stardom, but really in the world of Joshi. She is the final boss. She is the embodiment of she is what Brock Lesnar is really
Yeah.
to a WWE, for example. And when you see her in matches like this with someone like Chihiro Hashimoto, you can't help but appreciate what she's been doing for the past 3 years, essentially. And with this match, you got exactly what you'd hope for, I think. Right? She went out there with Hashimoto and they just had a fight. That's kind of how we previewed this, right? She had a fight, and putting on that fight made this such a different match from the entire show, and it made it stand out, I think, just a little bit more than it would have had it not been knockout or submission. The only thing that hurt, and I say that in quotes, that hurt this match is the crowd being a little slow to get into it, but I think that was more of coming off of the Mina win than anything else. But by the
that's
end,
what I
they were
thought.
into it, as you would expect. And those final 5 minutes or so of this match were unbelievable, right? The headbutts, the suplexes, the kicks and everything back and forth. It was excellent. It was everything I wanted this match to be.
pound for pound, man, this was the hardest hitting matchup, definitely of the night here. Luke saying is Shuri the Stardom version of Gunther. She's the Stardom version of like Gunther meets Walter. If you think those are two different people, then yeah, that's Shuri in a nutshell. What did you think about this one right here, J News?
For me, this was my match of the night. The reason as to why it's my match of the night is because it took me down a road that I'm very familiar with. It just felt like a King's Road match. Yeah. And to me, it was just the hard hitting portion of it was cool. No problem. But then the suplexes, the power bombs, the striking, they were really trying to hurt each other out there. But, you know, in a professional manner at the end of the day, right? When Shuri hit the jumping knee, all I heard was Japanese commentary, even though I was listening to English commentary. And I said to myself, oh, this is just classic. And then when Hashimoto dumped Shuri on her head, I said to myself, yeah, they're out here trying to kill each other. That is what Japanese wrestling at a certain point in time was all about. And to get to where we got to, and I believe, if I am not mistaken, the headbutt shot to the back of Hashimoto's head was something that to me was a little bit, that line was crossed at that point. I said to myself, all right, you didn't need to do this. The rest of this match was excellent. This was not necessary. And then the freaking Tajiri, the buzzsaw kick, man, I was like, what? Come on now, she's dead. I
was like, she's dead after her finisher, her like One Wing Angel finisher. I was like, this is over. Why are you picking her up? And then buzzsaw kick. I was like, yep, she is trained by Tajiri. This is a fact.
I was like, this is crazy to me. Why was that necessary? But it just made for what this match was supposed to be. Like Scott said, a complete and utter fight. These women beat the crap out of each other. For Hashimoto, I think a lot of the time we shoot this off. It's off the shoulder or whatever the case is. Hashimoto walked out of this match within her own power set. She got up. Yeah. She crawled up. She didn't take anybody's freaking help. She walked to the back by herself. And I said, Sendai girls, trained by the original final boss, Meiko Satomura. Listen to me. These women are different. They are just different. And at the end of the day, I wanted, like, she was invited back by Shuri. She said, this match was dope. Let's run it back. Bring me more Sendai girls, even if that, or whatever the case is. And I said to myself, listen, Japanese women's wrestling is where it's at. No disrespect to the ladies here in the West. They've gone through a terrific transformation within the last decade. But this, man, let me tell you, they wouldn't dare do something like this on American TV. They just wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. I know they tried the hardcore stuff, and you know the American public is kind of squeamish when it comes to women and bleeding and there was no blood in this match, and this wouldn't work here. They didn't even, and it wouldn't work here. It's like, oh my god, the hyper violence! I just can't see it. No, please. Women hit hard, and they hit harder. Like what I was watching, to one of the comments asking if Shuri was the equivalent of, I'll say Walter because I refuse to say that name.
You call him. He's a new him. He's new him. He lost all that weight. He lost all the weight.
Did you see him on Friday? He was six-packed out. I was like, what the hell's going on? Anyways, sorry, but at the end of the day, what we got here was, to me, an homage to what classic Japanese male wrestling was, just from a female perspective, and it worked. And this to me was the match of the night. No disrespect to Mercedes and the ladies in the main event, because those matches were great. But to me, this here it was just like, to Scott's point, it was different, but in the best way possible, and it just stood out in a way where I'm saying to myself, I need more of this. Yeah. This is what I need out of women's wrestling nowadays, because it's like a lot of the time we get they're supposed to still be dainty and da-da-da. Fuck no, give me this. Give me this.
I think the interesting thing about this whole show, right, is I think if you were to line up 10 people asking what their favorite match was from the show,
You have a different answer.
you have a different answer
Yeah.
every time, and there's no wrong answer.
No,
That's the thing,
absolutely
that
not.
they had so many great matches, and that really piqued a lot of people's different interests, right? We talk about the emotional side and the storytelling side of the last match. This match is that old Kings Road style, like Jay
Mhm.
News said, that is just let's beat the shit out of each other and see what happens by the end. And you'll have the main event that's that epic style, right?
Mhm.
And you have the next match, which of course is just it's important just for the size of it and what it means, I think, for the
Yeah.
future, which of course we'll get to in a second.
Yes, I do want to highlight some comments here in the chat. We got Simeon who's saying, sure, he is the ultimate boss, went out there and renewed her kill license against a strong Hashimoto. Luke saying, there are certain wrestlers you just feel the impact. Gunther is like this. Morishima loved Morishima, and just wrecks people, yes. And Simeon adding, Shuri headbutts is the sign of her saying, I'm having fun now.
They hurt me. Every shoot headbutt makes me cringe.
Yes, every shoot headbutt on the show made me cringe.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, here's the problem. Well, besides like the possible injury, is that I know Julia's gonna have some in her matches, so it's like, how many do I have to experience before we get
Right.
there? And I had to experience plenty. It was plenty.
Several. Yes, several in this on
And
this
yet
show.
somehow the person that walked out of this most roughed up was someone that didn't experience a headbutt.
Exactly.
That was Mercedes Mone.
Exactly. That knot on her head. Like, where did that come from?
Let's talk about it. Next was the IWGP Women's Championship match. We talked about it on the preview. This was the match that a lot of people were ordering the show for, because you have the star power of Mercedes Mone versus the icon of Stardom, and they just had those big time, like high profile entrances too, with Mayu coming out to her championship theme. Then you have Mercedes coming out with the Black Tiger tribute, a take off of her idol Eddie Guerrero, as well as the trainer of Mayu Iwatani as well. So a little mixture there. You get Rossi coming in for the championship bout for the pitcher opportunity here, and then this match just started off with like a flurry of strikes, both women exchanging strikes. Especially Mayu was not holding back at all with these kicks, these forearms. You get a big like tope very early on from Mayu, but then Mone took over with multiple knees to establish control. She hits a big meteora onto Mayu on the outside to the floor, which looked vicious. Then another one in the ring for a 2 count. She hits the 3 amigos, but Mayu's able to reverse the moneymaker into a crucifix bomb. Mayu continued to fight back with a dragon suplex, and then a beautiful frog splash, high fly flow, I called it, because it was very much high fly flow style for a near fall. Then after eating a pair of pump kicks and a slap, Mone slammed Mayu into the mat from the corner. She eventually hits the moneymaker, but Mayu's too close to the ropes. She tries again and again to get some near falls, but Mayu's able to survive. She eventually hits a dragon suplex, and Mone kicks out. Mone tries to fight back, but Mayu is able to hit a tombstone power driver where Mercedes sold this like death with the folded knees underneath. That was great. Then she tries to like get up and stop Mayu from going to the top rope, but Mayu just kicks her right into the head, and she had the knot previously from the press conference the night before, but I think that last kick was the one that made it just it made it more noticeable, because it wasn't very noticeable early on in the matchup, but I think the multiple kicks to the head was what really opened it up and made it more noticeable by the end of the matchup. She eventually goes to the top rope, hits a moonsault, but Mercedes is able to kick out, and then finally Mayu hits the 2-step dragon suplex for the 1, 2, 3 and new IWGP Women's Champion. You get Mercedes smiling after taking that bump as she has her knees basically on her head. After the match, though, it was very like dramatic and felt like the culmination of this rivalry with Mayu asking Mercedes to come back out. Mercedes with the ice pack on her head because the knot is very noticeable at this point, and both women just go out of their way to show respect for one another. Mayu thanking her, Mercedes thanking her, saying that she was proud to be the CEO of Stardom, but Mayu has proven herself to be the icon, and she wants her to take the IWGP Women's Championship to the next level. Both women showing a bunch of respect for one another. I really liked the moment after the matchup. The match only went about like just over 12 minutes, and I really just felt like, man, I wish this match got 5 more minutes because this was tremendous.
Yeah.
I thought this was a tremendous matchup. I give it 4.5 stars, but I think I would have went full boat on this match if it got 5 more minutes because it was just every step of the way. It just delivered in every way possible. Scott, your dream match, how was it to live the dream and watch Mayu and Mercedes go one-on-one?
It became apparent this is not the last time we'll see them face off. That was my big takeaway from this. I was like, this is just the start of these two going head to head. And, I was a believer that Mercedes was sticking around. And I've said that for pretty much months now. It was going to be like, she's going to get the bug and she's not going to leave. And we know now that she's not leaving and she's going to come back for the IWGP Women's title. And I think she's going to win the IWGP Women's Championship back somewhere down the road. For anyone, that may be asking, well, why is Mercedes not champion anymore? Listen, I think this was the agreement when she first signed that initial contract. You're going to come in, you're going to win the title, you'll have a defense, you'll drop it to Mayu, and then we'll see where we are after that. Now that she's back, and I think going to have a much longer extended stay, this is probably more of an official contract than per date now moving forward is what I think. I think it was reported as an extension. I think it won't be per dates anymore. I think it will be more of a contract, and I think she probably got cheaper, right? A little bit cheaper, not too much cheaper, but a little bit cheaper. And that's because she probably wants to be around more. But this match was Mercedes Mone telling Mayu Iwatani, hit me as hard as you possibly can because I want to experience Joshi to the ultimate. And it's rare I ever am left asking for more time. This is one of those times I was like, this match should have had more time. And it's kind of the embodiment of the IWGP Women's title so far, right? It's not a title that has been given all the time. Sure, we have 2 matches that have had the main event type spot and they've went 20 plus, and then we have 3 matches that haven't hit 15 minutes essentially. So it's interesting. It's interesting where this title's going, but obviously I'm very happy Mayu's champion and I'm very happy Mercedes is sticking around. It doesn't reach the match of the year levels that I think we all saw they can reach. Right? They gave the hints, they gave the moments, but they just didn't have the time to get to that level. I think somewhere down the road, whether it be historic crossover or assuming they run that again, or something of the sorts where they get a main event type spot, that's when we'll do it. That was also part of the problem, right? There was so much going on here. Just to have this match on here meant a lot. And I think this is one of those matches that you'll look back on historically and it'll be a big deal because of what Mercedes being on this show meant, right? And kind of like that Bayley Sasha match that everyone talks about from Brooklyn, like that is looked back. Obviously, it was a phenomenal match, but it's looked back on in a historical sense because that kind of triggered something. And I think this is going to continue to trigger the growth in Joshi in Stardom because this happened, and she's going to be involved in that for the foreseeable future, which is really cool.
Yeah, we've heard from Wrestling Observer Radio from Dave Meltzer. He's talked about how there seems to be an extension being made. We also he's talked about how Mercedes has really kind of integrated herself in the Stardom locker room, wasn't acting like she was a big leaguer or bigger than anyone. So I love to hear all of this stuff. And she did announce in her press conference after the matchup that she would be appearing at New Japan Pro Wrestling Ratings Resurgence event on May 21st, and she tells her cousin to roll a fat one because she's heading to Long Beach. So J News, what did you think about Mercedes versus Mayu here?
The first thing that came to mind when I watched this match, or when I finished watching this match, was where was my 20 minutes? I couldn't let it go. I couldn't let it go for the simple fact that it's the point you guys made earlier of all the IWGP women's championship matches, like they're just not as long as they should be at this point, and this proved to be that. Not saying that the match was bad. The girls did exactly what they went out there to do, and put on a banger. But for 12 minutes for a championship that's supposed to mean a great deal in the landscape of women's wrestling now, especially with New Japan being behind it and co-booking and all that stuff, or whatever the case is, it fell short in that estimation, right? Not the match itself. I feel like Mercedes wanting to stay in Japan is a good thing. Obviously, this being the biggest gate for any Stardom show ever is a telltale sign. Can she get other women's wrestlers from around the world who are popular to piggyback and join her at Stardom? Maybe. That would be a good look as well. Not to say that, the Stardom needs to have the outside wrestler always coming in, not necessarily, right? I'll boost up the girls that are already on the roster, but making those gates, helping the girls make more money, putting a bigger spotlight on the company is always a plus. So, I know that the rumors were going about during the weekend or last week about what transpired between Stardom and Trinity Fatu and how they couldn't afford her and this, that, and the third. Hopefully Mercedes helps bridge some gaps with other women's wrestlers and stuff like that. I'd love to see Toni Storm back in Stardom if it were up to me. Not to say this whole Outcast thing on AEW, I'm kind of like in between with it right now. So exactly. This Jamie Hayter coming back, I think would be cool. Where the fuck is B Priestley? Because goddamn,
she went to the vortex known as NXT UK, and still, even though she debuted on NXT, she still hasn't got out of it.
Nah, man, Jesus Christ! And she posted recently on Instagram, and I said to myself, she's lost even more weight. I'm not too, and hopefully she's fine. But at the end of the day, you never necessarily know. But I would love to see her back. And see more of these girls on the Stardom roster, man. It's just, this IWGP women's match put it in my head. I need more time. This match needs to be of bigger importance if this belt was created for a reason, right? Yeah. And that's really more or less the takeaway I got from this. From a match standpoint, I gave it 4 stars. The reason as to why I gave it 4 stars was just because it didn't last long enough at the end of the day. So that's really more or less as to where I'm at with that.
Yep.
That is fair.
And the last thing, I think it's important to think of with this title, like the 2 matches that have been given the time have been standouts for the year, let alone right. Yeah. The Mayu Kai run to crown the first champion obviously was a standout from last year, and then the one between Mercedes and Kairi was a standout from earlier this year. So it's just a matter of giving them time because they're going to deliver, and I hope in time we can get to that 20-minute mark a bit more, and it doesn't have to only happen every few defenses. It should happen every defense, because if you want this title to mean more, then that should be the case. And like when it comes to Dominion, because I'm sure that's probably the next defense, they're not going to get 20 minutes. So it's tough. Like, it's just not going to happen.
We already see with Colin saying that if they do the match again, they won't get time in New Japan. Wrestle Kingdom is proof of that. We got Chocobe, who says Mercedes got the Meltier CD and had Tam and Poi sign it. Ha ha ha. We also got Simeon, who says people don't realize Mercedes is a fangirl for both Stardom and TJPW rosters. She views them as her heroes at times. So
no, that's definite. It's she has her own YouTube channel. So she's been documenting her journey and stuff like that or whatever. I know that she's been a fangirl for years. She always, obviously, for her to go during her WWE time and go to Japan and train, with the Japanese Joshi wrestlers was a testament to that. And I was like, oh, this is what she wants to do. She wants to do this, you know. And the WWE obviously has their own style, so it is what it is in that particular regard. So yeah.
Now let's talk about the main event of this grand show, All-Star Grand Queendom for the World of Stardom Championship. It was Julia defending the championship against Tam Nakano. Tam coming out like the pixie princess that she is, with the crown on her head, with the angels as the cosmic angel came down to the ring. Then you had Julia. Oh my God, the presence of Julia. She felt like the biggest star on a show that had Mercedes Mone on it. Julia felt like the biggest star possible with this entrance and what she was wearing. Just both women just made this have the big fight feel before the bell even rang, and just their animosity with one another. And this was another credit to the English commentary. They really drummed this up, talking about how personal and how this was really like a grudge match. And instantly this started off with like a scramble, and then it quickly escalated as Julia hit her usual finisher, the Northern Lights bomb, within like a minute or two of the matchup. The fight went to the floor where Julia set up a table. Eventually she gave a snap mirror off the top rope on Tam to drive her through the table at ringside. Then she looked for the glorious driver on the ramp, but Tam was able to reverse it into a reverse DDT, then hit a series of running knees down the ramp. They both fought to the back to the ring, and then they were on the top rope battling with one another. They both hit a pair of headbutts, which makes them both fall to the floor. We get a near count out where both women get back into the ring at the count of 18. They start trading strikes. Julia rocks her with a close fist. She gets admonished for that, and she lands another Northern Lights bomb for a near fall. She then hits the glorious bomb for the glorious driver for a near fall as well. Tam comes back with a big Julia hits a backdrop driver, and then Tam comes back with a backdrop driver on her own. They start just hitting just big high impact moves. Tam hits 3 running knees and then the Twilight Dream for a great near fall. She tries for the violent screwdriver, but Julia's able to escape. Julia eventually hits another closed fist strike, which gets a chorus of boos as the referee admonishes her. She hits another Northern Lights bomb for another near fall. She tries to go for her arm trap Northern Lights bomb, but Tam's able to reverse it, and then she hits a super tiger suplex. Then Julia comes back with a tiger suplex of her own. Then Tam hits the Northern Lights bomb on Julia. They start trading off. They hit a ridiculous top rope butterfly suplex by Tam to Julia that almost looked like a top rope J driller. Then eventually Tam hits the Northern Lights bomb. She hits the Twilight Dream for a very, very, very close near fall. And then finally she picks Julia up. She hits the violent screwdriver, and 1, 2, 3. I was in absolute shock. Julia loses after 115 days as the World of Stardom champion. Julia loses, and Tam Nakano finally wins the World of Stardom championship. After the match, Tam took her chance to basically thank and taunt Julia for losing here, and Julia tells her arrivederci for now, but Tam stands tall on top of the Stardom mountain as the World of Stardom champion. After the match, she even poses in the ring with Restart, the Artists of Stardom champions, as Cosmic Angels came in looking like they were all gonna be done after this show, but they're on top of the Stardom mountain together, and Tam Nakano is your new World of Stardom champion. This was just violent. The palm strikes that had Tam's face kind of bruising in the middle of the matchup, the strikes to the face, the headbutts, which I was just like, this is very dangerous. That was the only nitpick that I have about the matchup, was the headbutts, but how it escalated and it felt like the epic type of main event that you would expect from a show like this. I gotta give it. I gotta go all the way, J News. 5 stars. 5
Do it.
stars in Yokohama Arena. This lived up to the blood feud that built up to this matchup and it delivered in every way possible. Scott, what did you think about Tam versus Julia here?
Someone dubbed over the end of this match with the Don Callis hook the leg with Tam Nakano getting the win. And I watched it. I was like, oh man, like it was now or never for Tam Nakano. And I think that is the most important part of this. And these two have created one of the great Joshi rivalries of all time through their matches and through their hatred. My only critique is there was no blood. I was ready for there to be a crimson mask. I was ready.
This man it's after my heart. There was no blood. There was no blood. I needed the blood.
I needed Tam, blood going down her face and just standing up and doing all that. Like, that was my only serious nitpick because it felt like we were gonna get it and then we never did. But these two have been here before in terms of the big spot on the biggest Stardom show, and they went out there and they delivered all over again. I know a lot of people are either happy about Tam winning or sad that Julia lost. There's no in between. And
that was me. Me. I was sad Julia lost.
And here's the truth: Julia's just getting started, and I will always say that she is nowhere done. This is part of her story. When she finally gets to that top level, Tam knocks her down. And I think that's kind of something you could play back to. I would be fine if for the first time, pretty much ever, you hot potato the title from one champion to someone new and back to Julia down the line. I think that would be perfectly fine. At one point, right while we were building to this match, it felt like the final one, but it wasn't the final one to me because Julia lost. Now they're tied at 3-3. Best of 7 series. We ain't stopping until someone has that last win. This was absolutely tremendous. This is what you want in the main event. An emotional, physical, all-out war with Tam getting the win. And it was pretty surreal. It was pretty surreal to see it end like this just because, we talked about it last week. I said, I feel like it's not crazy to think Tam could walk out with the win.
You did say that.
And she did. And I wasn't in shock. I was more of interesting. All right, this is the new road. They have reshuffled the deck. They have all new champions. They have a whole new goal now moving forward. Now we'll just have to wait and see how far that goes, right? Because we don't know her first challenger. Every other champion has a first challenger now. She doesn't have one. So we'll have to wait and see. Though I will say, for that Fukuoka pay-per-view, she's teaming with Sayori and New against Starlight Kid and Ruaka. I'd be shocked if Starlight Kid was the first to step up, which I think would be excellent. But
I would love to see it. J News, what did you think about the main event here?
Man, to your guys' point, this was the epic match of the night. This was Naito Okada, right? This was that from a New Japan standpoint, and for me, they're gonna fight forever. This just, it just made it what it was supposed to be. Now, during the match, when Tam's face started to blow up, because that's what happened, it looked like she caught an allergic reaction.
Oh my god! I was like, they are really not holding back with these palm strikes.
And I said to myself, I hope that this is just the palm strikes, because if these headbutts are leading to this swelling, this is a problem. You know what I'm saying? And we all know we have the history with the headbutts, and it's just no, absolutely not. There's other ways around this. At the end of the day.
There's other ways to work this match, brother.
Exactly. That's why me and Scott were talking about little color, brother. You know what I'm saying? Little color wouldn't hurt nobody. You know what I'm saying? No, I thought that the match was great. It was fantastic. Not my match of the night, obviously, as I sort of spoke about Shuri and Hashimoto, but man, this was definitely what it was supposed to be from a main event standpoint. Like I said, It stood out in its own way. The grand scope of the entrances, the epicness of the music and the pageantry and everything else in between. And they have these 3D trons going on now. And I was like, where?
And the ramp. And the ramp,
yeah, and the ramp was lit up, and then when some of them would step, it would listen. Production value matters, people. It matters. So at the end of the day, what they were able to do here, from a match standpoint, the storytelling standpoint, it's not over. To Scott's point, this is not over at all. I'm not sure if they'll ever get to. I don't know what the next show or their next match is going to be. Obviously, it'll be for the title again. But yeah, this is great. This is great to me. The only reason as to why I chose the Shuri Hashimoto match as my match of the night was because of my old school appeal and the AJPW stuff and everything else in between. This is more akin to what I watch in New Japan all the time. Yeah.
So, this was the Okada style main event, Okada Shingo, Okada Naito.
So Okada doesn't do headbutts because he's a normal human.
No, except right.
He's not insane like Julia.
There was a point in the match where Julia had spread her arms, and I said to myself, "Is she going Rainmaker here?" And I was like, "What are we doing?" And I was like, "Anyways," but it all worked out for the best. To the point I made earlier, the post match celebration, her inviting Kyrie in, it was all odd. I know that they're not necessarily all part of the same faction and everything else in between. It just no.
Kyrie's the last woman that beat her before she won this championship. So
Kyrie stared down that title.
Yes, she did.
That is what she did, and I was like, They have a big match the moment they want it. And I think that's the match you run back, obviously, because then this time they'll have time to do it.
Exactly. You do it on a Stardom main event. You're going to get the time. And the answer, I think someone in the chat was asking how long the match went. It went 23 minutes, 40 seconds. So just under 24 minutes. This got the amount of time it needed, and it really delivered in every way.
To watch.
We got
in a good way.
Yes, Wallaby saying with the super chat donation, thank you so much, good brother. He said we were gonna squeeze out some money from him, and he's delivering. He says Tam and Julia are destined to do this forever. Tam, it will keep trying to bring Julia down, but she'll never succeed. Even when Julia falls, she falls forward. This is what happened the last time when she cut her hair. It led her to the World of Stardom Championship and the 5-star Grand Prix. Wallaby with another super chat donation saying, I don't know if this will be expanded on, but Tam asks people to believe in Tam, but they still freely chant for Julia despite 2 close fist punches. Besides the fans booing Julia after the close fist, they still were cheering for Julia at the end.
I'll say this. When post-match, when Tam was going and she was saying believe in Tam, and the first 2 times I feel the crowd wasn't with her. And I was like, oh, I don't know if they made the right choice here. I'm not sure they made the right choice here. This doesn't bode well. But they eventually got into it or whatever the case is. And I was like, all right, they're giving Tam time to run. Hopefully she does something good with the title run here. But just from a fan perspective, I was like, ooh, that didn't look good. I was like, that didn't look good at all.
No.
We don't have many 2-time World of Stardom champions, but Julia will be one soon enough. And now it'll be interesting to see how we build back to that, because obviously her going against Tam makes sense, but they could wait longer, right? Because I think Utami's going to get heated up soon again to get back to that spot, be a 2-time champion, and that's the money match. They have yet to do Julia and Utami, despite them being in the same company this whole time. So, their next big show, and I'll say this before, we wrap it up here. Kadani, of course, president of Bushiroad, said yesterday that he would like Yokohama Arena to be the equivalent of what Tokyo Dome is to New Japan moving forward. He would like that to be Stardom's new end-all, be-all arena for their biggest show of the year, and I thought that was pretty cool. It makes sense. That's their biggest attendance ever, 5,539 people in attendance. If you can keep going to that moving forward, right? I know the dream is the Tokyo Dome. We're still a ways off. Obviously, the Tokyo Dome is gigantic. Yeah. Yokohama Arena is a good home for their big show. It was loud. This was the best non-Cork and Hall crowd I've ever heard from Stardom.
Loved it.
That's
Loved
great.
the crowd. Yeah, the crowd was great throughout this, especially with this match. How like I said, it had the big fight feel in that with Japanese crowd. How you know it's the big fight feel is everything goes silent at the first minute of the match. Like they're waiting for the match to escalate and get them involved, and that's exactly what it did here. But yes, that brings us to a close on this review here. Let's of course sound off in the live chat. Last call for super chat donations. Let us know your match of the night, MVP, LVP, out of 10. What did you give the show? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. For us here, let's put our thumbs in the middle. For Stardom, All-Star, Grand Queendom, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. In 3, 2, 1. Obviously, yes. Thumbs up all across the board for Stardom, All-Star, Grand Queendom. Out of 10, what did you give the show, Scott?
I don't always do like the perfect, but because of how big this show was and the level that they delivered on, I will go 10 out of 10.
Love it. J News?
I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. The 0.5 loss was that damn count out.
That's fair.
That damn count out. Just no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. The count out and the Rumble. I don't know what the hell happened there, but it's what it is.
I'm with J News. This is my highest rating of the year so far, 9.5 out of 10. This is a near perfect show in every way possible. Like it delivered, especially like Scott said before, those final 5 matches, how they escalated, gave you banger after banger after banger. Great stuff all around. Match of the night, J News.
Oh, Ben said it, man. For me, it was Shuri versus Hashimoto, bro. That match just took me back. That match had me at the edge of my seat. I just needed to hear the. It was like Suzuki versus Nagata a couple of years ago. You know what I'm saying? All that hidden, and I just needed more of it, man. I just needed more of it, and all those guys did was just throw freaking forearms at one another at that point. But no, that's my match of the night.
I know this is the hardest question we're gonna ask Scott on this show. Your match of the night.
Main event. I think because of how it delivered in the spot that it was, right? The appropriate amount of time, a new champion, it all came together. But again, the fact that there's a possibility if you ask 10 people and they all had a different answer, to credit to what a show it was, right? I think there were 6 matches that I could imagine someone saying was their favorite match of the night.
Yeah, it really is. It's such a well-rounded show and a step up even from Sakura Genesis, who we were talking about how they had like 5 matches in a row that were like over 4 stars.
Yeah.
This one had like 6 or 7 that I gave 4 stars or more to. So yeah, we are going to be in agreement here for match of the night. I got to give it to Tam versus Julia. That was just, it delivered the epic main event to close out this type of card. So I got to give that match of the night. Plus, only match I gave 5 stars, the full boat too. So I got to give it that. MVP for the show, Scott.
MVP for the show. I think that's a really good question because we had so many new champions, right? It's almost like I should be picking a new champion. I'm gonna go with Mina Shirakawa. I think, and I didn't think going into this show I would be picking her. Not because I didn't think she could deliver, but that pop and the energy you felt when she finally finally pulled it off, it felt like that MVP type moment. And I think the match itself to go along with it obviously helps, but it felt like she was the star of the night, even if she was the 4th match to the top.
Yeah. This is another one where I gotta agree with you. It's Mina Shirakawa because like I learned about her story heading into this matchup, how she was kind of brought in to kind of be just a pretty face, and she was all focused on her boobas and just being the dancing girl. Yes, the breast.
I'm here like what are we talking about here, bro?
They call it the boobas out there. But yes, but how she has improved so much to a point where she had a near 5-star matchup, in my opinion, it's got to be Mina Shirakawa. Who you got MVP, J News?
What's the term that they use? When they it's not overwhelming, but we all are in agreement here. Unanimous. There it is. Yo, COVID fog is real, folks. 3 years later, that's just real. But anyways, unanimous here. Mina for the freaking MVP. Listen, man, it was my second favorite match of the night. Like, I knew nothing about these women going into this match, and the way they sold it to me, sans commentary, was unbelievable. And her win, and to Scott's point, that pop she got when she won, I was like, oh, they love this girl. Like, they wanted her to win from opening bell. So Mina for the MVP for sure, man.
And LVP for the show, I gotta go with 7-Up. 7-Up for not doing the proper job. J News.
The match gets LVP for me. Forget 7-Up. The match. Who's the booker? Rossi? Look, listen, you Monopoly man looking son of a. You know what? This. No. We need to stop this bad booking. What is going on here? Oh man, no. The match gets the LVP.
That's why he gets a near perfect night, right? That's why he gets
near
perfect night. You almost booked everything to perfection, but there was a count out win. I think 7-Up match, whatever you want to call it. Like, here's the thing, I won't say match because I don't want to blame the two that won. It's not their fault that this is
not their fault. It's not their fault.
So
they agreed to it. They agreed to it, damn it.
What can they do?
They can always go into business for themselves.
Oh, come on, this guy trying to promote unprofessionalism.
Like, I look forward to the thankfully the press conference, we didn't have a brawl out segment. We didn't have 7-Up on the mic, blaming the children that they work with.
Children.
But 7-Up least valuable, which is a shame because pretty much up until this point they were one of the most valuable in Stardom, and then when the biggest show happens, woof. But hey, can't take away from what overall was, such a great night.
Yes, so far my show of the year, the highest rating I gave for a show. So gotta thank Scott for joining us for this Stardom All-Star Grand Queendom weekend, for the great preview, for the great review here. Scott, as always, we appreciate you, sir. And of course, we don't want this to be the last time we have you on the channel because you're so knowledgeable in everything. And let the people know where they can follow you on social media, see your written work, and of course, your review in 30 minutes. Let the people know.
So follow me at Scotty Wrestling on Twitter if you don't already. I'll be reviewing this show in detail, talking about the now, the present, the future of Stardom, Suzuki, the words of Kidani, and the Fukuoka card. That'll be at 1:30 p.m. Eastern on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. If you follow me, I've posted the link a few times, so go check that out. I'll have a written review up on voicesofwrestling.com later today or either tomorrow for this full show, if me talking isn't enough for you. And what else? I think that's it. Oh, and I have a feature coming out in a little bit about Mercedes Mone and her impact for Stardom, and why betting on herself, like I expected, was the right choice. So that's all the stuff coming up for me. And then of course I do my work with Fightful as well, covering all this. So, if you see Joshi pop up, it's usually me. So keep an eye out for that.
Yes, this man is very talented. That's why he gets shouted out on commentary. J News, let the people know where they can follow you, good sir.
You can always follow me on the Instagrams _JONJY for the good folks I like to interact with all the damn time. So let's keep that rolling, folks. You can also follow me right here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. As always, me and SP3 talking at New Japan Pro Wrestling. I would love to come back for another one of these Stardom events. They've made a fan out of me. And so this might be added on to the list of the rest of the damn streaming services I have, man. I don't know if I don't know which one I don't have yet. So it is what it is there. So I'll keep checking them out. Also, folks, never forget about the Patreon. True Heel Heat, $3 a month gets you a whole hell of a lot of extra content you might not get on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, and of course True Heel High Heat for True Heel Heat Sports. J News on there with Romeo and Josh, as well, talking that baseball stuff, and Chris G. So check me out there as well.
You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TrueHillHeat. We'll be back later tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, for Rated Raw Superstars watching tonight's WWE Raw. Go out of your way and check out the latest edition of the True Hill Heat flagship podcast as I schooled Top Guy JJ and Miss Chrissy Love, who tried to laugh me out the building for picking Mayu Iwatani, but I proved that I believe in the icon of Stardom, and I was right. They were wrong. Just want to make sure that was known. But thank you to Scott. Thank you to J News. And thank you to all you guys. You guys have been fantastic with your feedback for our preview, feedback here, a bunch of new faces in the chat. And welcome back. And we'll be back with probably more Stardom content because of how good these preview and review went. But for Scott, for J News, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been our Stardom All-Star Grand Queendom review. We are signing off until